hat down there. Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. YALL Qaeda. A little over a week ago, a small group of armed, right-wing, anti-government types seized control of some buildings at a wildlife refuge in a remote region of Oregon. The group is led by Ammon Bundy, who is the son of freeloading Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy. YALL Qaeda is just one of several mocking nicknames that has been given this group. Vanilla ISIS is another one that I am particularly fond of. And if these names suggest that the group and their cause aren't being taken seriously, that's because they aren't. And they don't deserve to be. For its part, the supposedly tyrannical government against whom these men are making such a brave stand seems content to just stand back and wait for these dumbasses, poorly equipped in every sense, to give up and go home. It's really the worst nightmare for any aspiring terrorist, ain't it? You throw an insurrection and nobody shows up. Manosphere boycotts Star Wars. You're no doubt aware of the disappointing box office performance of the latest Star Wars film, The Force Awakens. I know, it's already the highest grossing film of all time in the US, but just think of how successful it could have been were it not for the boycott led by anti-feminist website Return of Kings, which labeled the film, quote, SJW propaganda, unquote, because it features leading characters who are a woman and a black man, respectively, which apparently the gang at Return of Kings felt was just a little too in your face. I mean, what's next? A Star Trek show with a female captain? Competent female captain? Anyway, even assuming that the highly suspect math employed by Return of Kings is accurate, which it's not, they're only claiming to have cost the film $4 million at the box office, which means that it took an extra day to become the highest grossing film in US history. Nice job, fellas. Feels good to be making a difference, doesn't it? Judge Roy Moore is still a homophobic dipshit. Remember when the U.S. Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage about 6 months ago? Well, Alabama State Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore didn't get the memo. Or he did, but his reading comprehension skills need work. Actually, it's probably that second one. Anyway, last week, Judge Moore issued an order to all state probate judges to stop issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples, because apparently there's some confusion among the judges as to whether they should abide by the U.S. Supreme Court ruling or a contradictory ruling from the Alabama State Supreme Court. How did all these people get to be judges without learning how judicial review works? Republicans vote to repeal Obamacare. Again. Republicans in the House of Representatives have passed a bill that would repeal the Affordable Care Act. They've already done this over 60 times, but this time is a little different because the bill they passed was already approved by the Senate, which means it will actually make it to the desk of President Barack Obama, who will presumably immediately veto it, shred it, and toss it in the composting bin where at least it'll do some good. It's nice to see new Speaker of the House Paul Ryan setting himself apart from his predecessor here, though. Instead of merely wasting the time of his fellow members of Congress, he's shown that he can also waste the president's time. Well done, Mr. Speaker. Obama mocked for crying over victims of gun violence. Last week, during a speech announcing a series of executive orders to implement the kind of modest, sensible gun control measures that Congress should have enacted on its own years ago, President Obama wiped away tears when speaking of some of the many Americans who have been killed by guns. Conservatives, conspiracy theorists, and other opponents of gun control reacted by accusing the president of employing some trick to manufacture his tears. If anyone watching this video thinks that the president must have been faking his tears, if you see someone crying after reflecting on the senseless deaths of others, and your reaction to that is they must be faking it, I have a question for you. How does it feel to be one of the worst fucking people in the world? The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time. Bit of a downer at the end, wasn't it? Sorry about that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it and subscribe to this channel if you're not subbed already. And also, please consider helping me to make more depressing videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.